I was told never to walk near the old swings at Mount Shasta after dark, but one night, I saw them moving, rocking slowly in the still air, like someone invisible was sitting there. The locals call them the clown swings. They sit at the edge of an abandoned campground, beneath a cluster of pines that swallow the last of the daylight. I didn't believe the stories. The rumor was that decades ago, the campground had installed clown-faced swings, oversized grinning heads with painted seats for children. The paint had long since cracked and peeled, but the faces were still there, staring. People said the swings moved even when there was no wind. That if you got too close, you'd hear whispers under the creak of the chains. I'd heard it all before campfire nonsense. But when my friends dared me to walk out there alone one September night, I took the challenge. I wanted to prove that it was nothing more than a spooky local tale. The trail to the old playground was overgrown. Every step snapped through dry pine needles and branches. The air smelled of damp bark, sharp and metallic, somehow, like rust. I kept telling myself it was just another story, but the silence was wrong. It wasn't quiet in the usual wait, it was the kind of silence that felt heavy, like the woods were holding their breath. When I finally reached the clearing, the moon lit the old swings in a pale bluish glow. There were 3 of them in a row. Each seat was a faded plastic mold shaped into a clown's grinning face. Their smiles had warped with age, the paint flaking into grotesque masks. The chains clinked softly, shifting on their own. At first, I laughed under my breath. It was creepy, sure, but they were just swings, probably catching some breeze from the mountain air. But then I noticed the pines above me were still. Not a single branch stirred. Yet the middle swing rocked with steady rhythm, back and forth, like it had a rhyme. I told myself it was my imagination. I stepped closer, crunching the dry needles under my boots. The air grew noticeably colder, enough to make my arms prickle. A faint sound drifted toward me, a low, breathy murmur. It was coming from the swing. I froze. The murmur wasn't the wind. It was a voice, too low to make out words, almost like a child, whispering into cupped hands. The clown face on the middle swing seemed darker than the others, like the shadows clung to it. I swear, its painted eyes followed me as I circled around. I didn't want to sit in it. That thought made my stomach twist, but my friends had dared me, and I wanted proof. So I pulled out my phone, aimed at the flashlight, and raised it toward the clown swing. That's when I saw it. The face had changed. The cracks in the paint had shifted into something like frown lines. The grin stretched wider, as if the plastic was warping while I stared. Its mouth looked too deep, like a tunnel. The whispering grew louder, and it wasn't just one voice anymore. It was several, layered over each other, speaking in overlapping fragments. Some sounded like laughter. Some didn't sound human at all. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my phone. The light caught the other swings, and I realized they were moving too, though I hadn't heard them start. The chains rattled sharply, rocking back and forth in unison. The whispering rose with them, a chorus of hollow, breathy tones. My instinct screamed to run, but my legs felt locked in place. I forced myself to step back, and the instant I did, the swings stopped. All 3 froze mid-motion, as though someone had grabbed them and held them still. The whispering cut off at once. The silence hit harder than before. The pines loomed, the air heavy and freezing, and the clown faces just stared wide. Brittle grins, eyes catching the moonlight. I could hear my own breathing too loudly, fast and ragged. Then, from behind me, the sound of chains squeaked. I spun around. There was nothing but trees. But the sound kept coming, one sharp, metallic creak at a time, as though another swing was hanging somewhere in the darkness, moving and waiting. I bolted. I didn't care about pride or proof anymore. The trail seemed longer on the way back, my flashlight bouncing wildly across the trees. I didn't stop running until I broke into the clearing where my friends were waiting by the car. They laughed at me at first, until I showed them the video I had recorded. It wasn't much, just the swings moving on their own. But when I played the audio back, their faces drained of color. The whispers were on it, clear as day, and beneath them, in a jagged, distorted tone, a single word repeated: stay. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I pictured those grinning faces, the swings rocking in perfect unison. It's been weeks now, but sometimes when I'm alone I hear the faint squeak of chains, not outside, not in the distance. Inside my room, just behind my chair, and I don't turn around anymore. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay scared.